Yeah, no, I know.
That right there.
So Rick is online, it looks like.
Yeah, David. Yeah, we got some.
And who else?
We got 4 people: David, Mac, Carrie, and Rick.
Carrie always gets on. Rick is now on, I should know, maybe just running and, oh, I see, Adrian, I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh, okay,
Brian. That's Brian Mitzman. All right, let's get started. Welcome to the Yellcrest Neighborhood Council. I am recording. I know, you always have to remind me. I know. We have Dan Dugan here. Thank you for being here, Councilman. We appreciate it. I just have 2 quick announcements before we jump into our agenda. The first is we're going to have a Miller Park cleanup on Saturday, May 10th at 10 a.m. And I'll read a little blurb about that. Jim Webster from the board is organizing this. And what this is, there's an overgrowth of foxtails has invaded Miller Park. Jim Webster has organized a cleanup that will take place Saturday beginning at 10 a.m. Please bring shovels, gloves, and large garbage bags. The foxtails will need to be removed from the park and disposed of. So that's a service project that we're going to be participating in. So if you can make it, that would be great. If you have any questions about that, you can either contact me or Jim Webster directly. He's spearheading this. With these foxtails, it's dangerous for dogs when they come up. So we just want to prevent some potential harm that will come to our dogs. And we know our
now.
Oh, yeah.
That's the big reason. And so you can weed whack them.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, if you have any questions about that, reach out to me or Jim, and we can provide you with more details. Next is Councilman Dan Dugan. His next town hall will be on the May 14th at 6:30 p.m. right here at the library. So put that on your calendars. We also have Dan here today. So if you want to.
We're talking public utilities will be here and fire will be here.
The public utilities will be here and fire chief. Awesome. Well, let's jump in. Carly Nilsson is here. She's going to be presenting our Good Neighbor Award. And for those of you who are unaware of this award, we present this once a month to an individual in our community who's gone above and beyond in serving our community. We all love this neighborhood so much. So we identify someone each month to present the Good Neighbor Awards. Carly.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Just in time, my special guests have arrived. There's that wonderful public figure, Mr. Rogers, who has often reminded us that oftentimes when we are experiencing like emotional and political and worldly distress, we just have to look for the helpers. And when we find those people, we're reminded of all the good and wonderful things happening in the world. So this is my personal endeavor to make sure we constantly remind ourselves of all the wonderful things that are happening and occurring right below our feet. And I have the honor of recognizing tonight Byron Little. In the 80s, he began the project with his friend and neighbor of putting in those special light fixtures that you see that are quite epic throughout our neighborhood. He owns an electrical company and it's called Beacon Electric and Lighting. But obviously his skills have gone far surpassed his profession in creating a special base and a concrete structure that would enable these beautiful historic looking lights to be installed on top of them. And he figured that out kind of single-handedly with Dennis Burbage, who I think has a concrete background, right? So that all was like in very good sync. And for somebody who's only lived here since 2010, like this history really means a lot to me. So this started in 1988, and they just started with those 2 blocks on Michigan Avenue. Did you know that? So now you see them scattered all throughout the city. I mean, you should be so proud of what you've started and that people seek them out and have tried to even like copy them because they are so good. So thank you for starting with that. That alone receives much appreciation and gratitude from our neighborhood. And then to add to that, Byron has been here since he was 18 months old. So he's probably, you know, turning a few years, maybe more than most of us, having lived here, having paper routes and a true investment of seeing like through the generations how this neighborhood has evolved. And it requires people like Byron and April to take ownership, right? And remind us, like young folks, how we need to continue these traditions. And Byron noticed over the last few years that the city has not been able to take care of the trees maybe as well as they once did, or that the trees, of course, are aging, right? And need more help and need more attention in order to keep them alive. So Byron has initiated this like Save the Sycamores, and I believe to date has been able to secure around $300,000 from the city to help us save the trees. I'm in real, right? Super grateful. From a real estate perspective, trees typically increase your property values by like 10 to 15%. That's astronomical. So we all should be paying Byron for his contribution towards our property values. But obviously trees go beyond like the monetary value, right? Like that's just a product gratefully that we get to reap. They change how you feel, right? And when you see as many houses as I do, when you're in an environment with mature trees, it's epic and it's hard to find in Utah. So thank you, Byron, for your consistent investment in our neighborhood with the lights, the trees. These are things to celebrate, and we thank you. I thought it'd be most appropriate to give you a bonsai tree to put in your home. And we have this vintage map that I had a supply issue and I will be dropping it off at your house, but usually I'm presenting a vintage map of the neighborhood to also share with you with some description of our appreciation towards you. So thank you to the little family and thank you all. So.
Thank you very much. Of course. I'm never lacking in, okay. Let me just say,
We're gonna do a quick picture with your tree. Okay.
Yeah, we're in we gotta get this for the historical record here. All right. So that we don't forget this, okay?
Thanks, Jan.
thank you all, and I want to thank Dan Dugan for going to bat for us.
Yeah.
I was very skeptical when I went out, put that first flyer out and say, save our sycamores. I thought I was going to get very little from the city, but thank you, Dan, for going to bat for us, pulling the heavyweight and getting that funding. But thank you all. It takes the neighborhood. So thanks.
Well, one other thing, let your neighbors know about the streetlights. If you have the green streetlights on the cement poles, and how when new people move in, they don't even know how they got there, where they came from. I see posts on the Elkhorn community thing about who you called to fix them. You called him. He repairs them. He's still putting in new.
Yeah, and we still have all the parks.
All the parks.
We have all the bases. We have the forms and everything. So
Clouds, but a lot of people think the city takes care of them. They don't. It's it was a neighbor
thing.
venture to start with, and that's how the neighbors care about.
Yeah.
us.
So please, I take a lot of pride in those. I'd like to see them all on. But anyway, but thank you. It takes a neighborhood, and let's keep this neighborhood good. Great.
Thank you, Byron, for making this community so much more beautiful.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Perfect. Next, we have Kara Johnson from the Public Lands Planner with Salt Lake City. She's going to be sharing with us an update and a few concepts on the Sunnyside Park redesign. So I will turn the time over to you. I'll pull up. If you could
Sit there.
if you could, that would be awesome.
I'm going to be sharing our concept designs up here, but if you do want a physical copy, I printed a few that you all can. I probably didn't print enough for everyone, but these are available online as well. So I'm Kira Johnson. I am a planner with the Public Lands Department, and we have a project at Sunnyside Park that's funded partially through the bond and partially through the agreement with the University of Utah. Is this being shared on Zoom as well?
Let me see. Oh yeah, I think it is. There we go. Now it's on.
Oh, it's so trippy. Great. All right. Okay. So as some of you may remember, we did some community engagement in the fall and heard from about 350 residents and park users through the survey, through stakeholder meetings, as well as a public open house. And the three key priorities that we heard from those meetings in regards to improvements desired for the park were not in a particular order, but one, to add amenities that serve a more diverse interests, more age groups, and a broader ability levels. The second is to maintain and enhance the sports amenities that already exist and upgrade it and update what's already there. And then third is to increase the unprogrammed, more leisure areas through an addition of trees, trails, natural areas, or open spaces. So this round of engagement began May 1st, and it will extend through the end of this month, where we're gathering feedback. And this is just some of the ways that we're spreading the word. We have yard signs posted in the park. The mailers are about to be sent out, but I didn't put a check because they haven't been sent out yet. One of the thoughts that I've had is staggering some of these ways of communicating with neighbors so that you're reminded, if you didn't take the survey or if you didn't hear about it, that you get it through several different means. So yard signs have been posted. The mailers should go out by next week. And the addresses within a 2-mile radius is like 25,000 addresses. So that'll hit a lot of homes. We have social media posts. We also have boosted ads, which just means that it's reaching more people than just the people that are following the public lands page. We sent a press release to several news stations. I haven't had anybody reach out, but the press release was sent. Presenting at community councils, I have Yalecrest, and immediately after, I'm going to be leaving to go talk with East Central as well. And in the coming days and weeks, the park rangers who are visiting Sunnyside Park will also be talking with park users about this project and sharing the project website and encouraging them to take a look at the concept designs and take the survey. And then we sent an email out to the stakeholders that we met with the first round and groups that are frequently reserving the fields. So now I'm going to walk through the three concepts that we're presenting, and there's some differences between them. B and C are pretty similar to each other. Wow, that got really zoomed in somehow. Let's see if I can, maybe you can help me zoom out. You can see the legend. Oh, wow. No, we want more than that.
There you go.
Okay, and my next slide will go into this a little bit more. So this is concept A, and actually I'm just going to go to this next one here that shows kind of some call outs. So in this one, we have proposed So there was a multi-use field up in that north corner that was affected by the baseball stadium. And so to replace that, because it didn't have the right dimensions to keep a multi-use field, we have proposed 6 new pickleball courts there, as well as a picnic shelter nearby. Where there were 2 softball fields, one of them was affected by the baseball stadium, and the county wasn't willing to program them anymore if there was less than 3. And from the city side, reservation wise, there's a lot more demand for multi-use fields. And so we have proposed 2 multi-use fields there, but we do have 1 softball field in this concept, that's 18 here, that is remaining in place in case there's leagues are maybe unlikely to reserve because of them wanting like multiple fields to use, but maybe there's one-off parties that want to do softball, etc. So in this concept, we have softball kept there, and then maintaining the existing multi-use fields there on the south side. The playground, something that we heard, as I mentioned, was wanting a park that served more diverse age range and ability levels. And one of the ways that we felt we could do that is the existing playground's pretty small. And so expanding that and putting in a new playground that is more of an all abilities playground there. Keeping the pavilion, we have proposed adding raised crosswalks to create a safer crossing between that west side and east side of the park. And let's see, move this over here. The 2 existing Little League fields are remaining in place. And then we have here 11 proposal to add 30 new parking spaces. And a new pavilion as well, not quite as large as the existing one, but a pavilion on the east side of the park. And the call out that I forgot to include here is that in this design, you'll also see a trail all around, and it extends down to the south end, staying within the fence line, rather than you'll see on some of the other concepts that it loops onto the existing Sunnyside trail. So that's concept A. Concept B. So a lot of similarities, but here we have 4 pickleball courts instead, and sorry.
Just click that.
Can I minimize it? Oh, there we go. Wow. Perfect. Okay, so 4 pickleball courts, adding that picnic shelter. And in this design, there's no proposal for a new large pavilion, but there's several picnic shelters proposed throughout the park. So those would just be smaller structures with maybe just 1 table underneath them, whereas the pavilion would have multiple tables underneath it. Like I said, not quite as large as the existing pavilion, but there's a picnic shelter proposed by the pickleball court, one here in between the multi-use fields. This is something that's different between that last concept is taking away the north Little League field and adding more of just like a recreational loop and some trees, just some more passive space there that's unprogrammed, so it's not a reservable space as a lot of this park is. And then rather than a softball, we'd convert that into a regulation size Little League field. We heard a lot from the Little League that the existing fields are good for practices, and they can have their T-ball games, but any of the older leagues within Little League, sorry if you're a baseball person and I'm speaking the wrong things. Yes, not large enough for those games. And so they would really love to see a larger field. And so proposal to convert that one into a field that could be usable for games. once again, 2 multi-use fields. The asphalt trail in this concept connects to Guardsman and then connects to the Sunnyside Avenue Trail rather than staying within the park. It connects to that one. And then there's also concrete walkways to connect the bleachers to each other to make them more accessible. Currently, it's just grass, and so that will make them easier to access with strollers or wheelchairs, etc. And the raised crossings exist in this concept as well. And just making sure I didn't forget anything. Okay, so that is concept B. Concept C is very similar, but one of the key differences to concept C is that rather than adding 2 multi-use fields, we add 1 and then have 2 passive recreational areas. So once again, that's unprogrammed spaces that wouldn't be reservable. So it's more likely that families could picnic there, or you could play a pickup game of Frisbee or bocce or whatever you want to, croquet, whatever you like to do in just like grassy areas. This one also has picnic shelters scattered throughout the park. And in all 3 concepts, we're proposing the addition of trees. There's a lot of existing trees, but we want something that we heard was that people want to see more trees at the park. And so it's tricky to balance the plantings of trees with a lot of that active field space. And so a concept like this, concept C, you would see more trees planted in this one than in concept A, where there's more heavy on the sport field usage. And then also in all 3 concepts, spaces on the perimeters of the park, or spaces where, for example, the edge of the stadium or in between the field and pickleball, hoping to do some more water-wise landscaping rather than just having it all be turf. And the details on that we don't have yet. This is just concepts, but just an idea of, once again, one of the things that we hear almost in every engagement that we do with any park in the city, people want to see more water-wise landscaping. And so have that proposed there. And now we got to zoom back in. So what we're asking everybody to do is to take the survey to share your insights and your feedback on these concepts. If there's any neighbors that weren't able to make it to this meeting, we do have a recording on our website, a presentation with the design team walking through, like I did, each of those concepts and explaining them. So that's available on our project website. Like I said, the survey will be open until May 31st. And this is the QR code that will take you to the project website. It's also on the handout that I gave you. And I also have small flyers of just that, which has the QR code taking you to the project website. On the project website, you'll find the survey, which, like I said, that's what we're wanting everybody to direct their comments and insights towards, so that we can be a little bit more objective in that, like, understanding of how people feel about these proposals and any other additional things. These are, like I said, 3 concept designs. So obviously none of this is set in stone. We're trying to understand through this phase of engagement whether we heard you right and whether we missed the mark, or what you would like to see more of, less of. Yeah. Are there any questions that I can answer now? Yeah.
There had been discussion about the city buying part of the property behind the courthouse and then actually the stream.
Yeah.
Has anything more happened with that?
Yeah. So it wasn't the area behind the church. It's actually just this extension. You can't really see it too well in any of.
You know how that the stream kind of
Right.
bends to the east and
Right.
a bridge.
Right.
So it takes this city property to the creek's edge as the creek kind of goes away from the park.
But there actually
Yeah.
had been talk about getting the softball field.
And I think
Yeah.
that the church wasn't amenable to that option, but there was a,
But
there,
so at least,
yes, and those negotiations are in place right now.
That-
Yeah, so.
That survey was done over a year ago, and I've been in touch with the Salt Lake County Recorder and the surveyor, and apparently nothing has happened since then.
Yeah, the last that I heard was that the city sent a letter of interest to the church and the church responded. And I think now it's a matter of like finding the funds to pay for that.
Well, currently. it's being thought about anyway.
It is, yeah. But this would make possible, once we own that side of the creek, it would make possible in the future, more like Red Butte Creek Trail, and restoration.
Because before we couldn't really do any improvements because it wasn't our land. Now we have the ability to improve it.
The proposal is to buy over to the east side of the creek, so you own the creek. Is that the idea?
That's,
The trail would go from where to where, because it's really.
I'm not sure about that, yeah.
And I don't know if it would go, with the high mark of the creek or the midstream of the creek, how that works. It's just the property that right now we have the baseball diamonds kind of. That area
It's like
is-
partially on there.
It's partially on there, so it was really just allow us to improve that area to the creek side, because that's what we want. I think we still have interest of purchasing the softball field on the east side, but that hasn't gone anywhere. How we can- We just crossed the bridge.
The bridge is, well, you have.
The LDS church.
Oh, is that
Yeah. Yeah.
clear in the Red Butte Creek area?
Partially, yeah. Yeah, so here you can see, so we own where this map is colored is where our property line is. And so we own part of it, but then that
Yeah.
part of even the Little League field isn't technically the city's, but the church is owned it.
There needs to be some credit due to that, I think.
Jim, there was a gate across that bridge, that's
Yeah.
so locked.
Yeah, that's
The bridge is totally, it's demolished.
And I think one of the city's conditions of the sale was that the church did something about that bridge to make access possible.
It's been over a year now, but that gate was there from to the north as a maintenance for either the hot university, and then there was another gate that allowed you to go to the softball, the volleyball courts, the beach volleyball courts that are back there. I think I walked through the gate, so I'm not sure if it's still closed or not, but I've only been there a couple times and it's nothing close to me to go.
Here,
Yeah,
so these are kind of drone views, if you will.
Yeah.
Of the concepts. Is there going to be another phase where you actually drill down and so, for example, in a pavilion, a sample, what
what it would look like.
Will there be conceptual drawing of that? We can kind of vaguely say, oh yeah, we like this, but it's, to me, only halfway to where I think we need to go before you can really finalize this. Is that a fair question, or?
Yeah, and it a lot of times it depends on the project and the budget of it. And I'm trying to remember what is in our contract with our consultants right now in their final. So what we would do from here is gather this input from the community members and park users and then develop a final concept that we would present less for big tweaks, but more of a like, this is what we've landed on, what we're going to end up designing more of. And so you're asking like more of a rather ground level view.
What will the pavilion sort of, what's the
Yeah.
concept of what's the concept of the field?
Yeah, I can look into that. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to work now, because I'm on the Doge workout plan. And so, I walked through the park, did it today to access the south gates. are you guys gonna do anything about the traffic situation on Alpha Distal? There's that flashing light, but today even, I'm crossing to come home. One guy stops, the guy behind him almost nails the gas, and I'm terrified that I'm gonna get hit.
Yeah.
And now you've got 600 VA employees having to go back to work, so that's increasing the traffic that's going through that part. And in that little intersection there, and I want to try.
Yeah.
That's
red light,
exactly,
not
I
a
don't
yellow
want to,
light.
but it's terrible, I don't want to die. you know?
Yeah.
So, like, there's some options, you know.
Totally. That's so scary. This
Suggests slowing down and stopping, then you stop.
Yeah, they're not.
There
Yeah.
needs to
The
be
people on the front line, and they pay attention that it's not, 2 or 3 cars down the way.
the most that we're doing in this concept would be those raised crossings to ideally slow traffic. It's traffic calming ideally, but anything more than that would be a transportation project. It'd be kind of outside of the scope of a park improvement where we're looking more at the like green infrastructure and less of the street infrastructure. But we did feel like adding those crossings to make it easier for park users to cross from one side of the park to another.
But I think a hot might be.
Yeah.
No, there are, yeah, they are, but that might be well, that might be, yes, yeah, we can look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing you could do is just narrow Sunnyside like we thought of 15 years ago.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that's also outside of the park project, but
Remember?
yeah.
Boy, good.
Yeah.
Trying some.
I'm not gonna find any argument for being on that. We tried to narrow part of it and we have to install on that one section.
Well, it symbolizes everything all around.
Yeah. I'll just take the one last question. I have to run to the other community council. Go ahead.
Yeah, that panhandle where you've got always a couple of concerns. I have one picnic pavilion there is maybe great because you don't know what else to do with the ground. But that's a long way to all your ice chests.
Yeah, so we've talked with the University of Utah. So this parking lot over there by Steiner is city owned. And it's used often for like salt storage in the winter time. They are improving this access road and creating a better route up to that parking lot. And so that will be something that we will have access to.
The original ownership of that panhandle, the widow was quite much wider. Half of that was owned by Steiner. And Steiner didn't get a dime out of the deal, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that, if you look at.
Well, it was BLM, Jim, it was BLM land, and there's all kinds of contractual things that you know, which Robin discovered.
I got it.
Yeah, there
I
was
admitted it.
concerns about the revenue achieved by that and why it went, where it went, so that's a concern.
Fair enough.
Because maybe that, to me, I don't have any problem with Trip at all, if they want to do it up there, but if there was a possibility that Steiner could benefit from land that previously owned, that would be nice. And there is a noise factor related to pickleball, and I feel bad for the vet guys in the housing, right? Yeah. Within 150, 200 feet,
Yeah.
It's gonna be the definition of nuisance.
Yeah.
I went to Valor House, I went to Valor House and made them aware of the baseball stadium. Ball coming off an aluminum bat sounds an awful lot like an M16, so, and the vets who were living in were very concerned, but the VA kicked me off of the property, so I don't think that you're gonna get much of a help out of the VA on that. Now that it's been activated by people, I don't know why they take that out of.
Can we just email, because you've got to run?
Yeah, I
Can we
do.
Just go ahead and email, because I have more questions.
Sure.
Gotta go.
Yeah. Thank you all for your time. And if any of you didn't get the larger printouts, I do have these smaller flyers with the QR code in the project website, and encourage you to take that survey. That's how we get a lot of these insights and do something with them. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Karen.
Anybody need one? Want me to do it from here? Oh.
Still says history.
Oh my gosh, you're so nice. Thank you.
Right, we should be good. Let me share the screen.
Thank you.
So now we're gonna have, thank you, appreciate it. I'm sure there's additional questions that you have, so you can email her, go to that QR code to submit your questions.
Weird. I think I. Look, the mouse like, oh, there we go. It won't let me click it. Okay, maybe. Sorry. I shouldn't have messed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So now we're gonna have Hannah Barton from the Salt Lake City Mayor's Office, give us an update on what things are going on in the city. Particularly, she's gonna focus on the budget that was just proposed this week on Tuesday. Yeah,
Great.
so she's gonna focus most of her comments on the budget, and then she has some additional information to share with us as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Hannah.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Hopefully this is okay. I was being a little finicky, so. Okay, first, I just have a quick reminder for everyone about artificial turf in Salt Lake City. There has been an ordinance in place since 1995 that we are not allowed to have artificial turf in our front yards, park strips, or side yards. I think it's been a little bit confusing to understand, and also turf companies will sell you turf regardless of whether or not it's allowed in the city. So we just kind of are doing a messaging campaign to remind folks. A lot of the property owners that do have artificial turf in the city have been notified and have been given an 18-month grace period to get that resolved. I do have flyers. If you have any neighbors that you want to like conspicuously drop it off at, I'm just kidding. You are allowed to have it in your backyard though. So if it's in your backyard, no stress. Really the reason behind that is it just adds to our urban heat island effect. It doesn't help our stormwater like absorb into our ground and replenish our groundwater. It just has a lot of runoff issues. So yeah, I'm sure you guys know that.
Yeah, this new baseball field, political comment is going to be true.
Is it really?
Say that, no?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
On the new baseball field. I'm just.
The you, I thought you said youth.
No. It's gonna be artificial turf.
Good to know.
20th.
In that same vein, if you're having a hard time keeping your grass alive, Salt Lake City Public Utilities worked with Utah State to come up with a new seed mix. That's supposed to use 30% less water than our typical lawns in the valley. $18 for a 5-pound bag. And you don't have to like mulch or destroy your current lawn at all. Or I'm sorry, not mulch, but like till it. You can just let your grass die, seed it, water it a couple times until it germinates, and then it grows back really strong. So easy enough. If you're interested in buying that, let me know, or you can scan that QR code, although it's kind of small. Next, a quick construction update. This is not in Yellcrest. I know you're technically adjacent to the U. I'm hoping that this is far enough away that it won't impact any of you, but I did just want to give you a heads up because it does impact access to the hospital a little bit, which I feel like is very important. We're doing construction on First South, so all the way over on the north side of campus. But for the summer, essentially, they started this past week and will go until I think August 17th until school at the U starts again. There will only be eastbound access on First South to get to the medical center. So we had to keep that open to make sure that ambulances and people dealing with emergencies could get through. But I would definitely recommend approaching from Foothill if you can. And you can, and then all westbound traffic or traffic leaving the hospital essentially will take Foothill as well. So if you have questions or concerns or if that directly impacts you, yeah. Ooh, good question. I'd have to look into that and let you know. I would assume it's getting rerouted, but rerouted where is the question exactly? Yeah, I'll have to look into that and let you know. I'm assuming, so this QR code would take you to the project website, and I'm assuming there would be details about that there. but I can make sure I have your email and let you know. Okay, next I'll jump into the budget. So the mayor presented her proposed budget to the city council on Tuesday. This QR code will take you to the like 10-minute mark of the YouTube video where she starts talking, if you're interested in watching her speech and hearing all of those highlights. I picked out a couple of things to highlight for you all, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So first, this year is a relatively flat budget. The only increases that you'll see are specifically in regards to the city's public safety plan. Obviously, we're all kind of facing some economic uncertainty right now. And I think the mayor is really aware of that and wanted to make sure that we maintained city service and kept doing what we're doing, but not raising any taxes. So there's no major tax increases, no property tax increase. I think the mayor, looking ahead to the future, is aware that we can't continue maintaining the levels of service that we provide without a property tax increase in the future, potentially next year. But for now, this budget does not include it. Yeah. Yes, sorry, not 100% flat. I think that is purely just to reflect inflation. And then there's 5 new FTEs being added specifically to help with the public safety plan. And I can talk about that in a couple more slides. So not 100% flat, but no significant increases. Public safety, here we are. So I'm sure a lot of you remember the public safety plan that the mayor provided to the state back in January. There were 27 city actions in that plan. 8 of those have already been completed and 19 of them are in progress. And then 7 of those actions are directly supported by this budget. And one element of that is 5 new full-time employees to create a clean city team. And their job would be to address graffiti, nuisance properties, trash, poor lighting, just areas around the city that maybe are crime hotspots or are attracting more crime simply because of the way that they look, if they feel a little bit ignored or not taken care of. So that team would pull a couple of full-time employees that already exist from our rapid intervention team that cleans up homeless encampments and bio-waste and different things throughout the city, as well as the graffiti team that currently operates in public lands. They'll be pulled together to make one big team to help clean our city. So part of that 6% increase would be coming from those 5 full-time employees, and I think just general funds to support those 7 city actions that were added in that plan earlier in January. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Next, I'm sure a lot of you have received notices from Public Utilities and Waste and Recycling about a couple of fee increases this year. Public Utilities, as I'm sure a lot of you know, they had a stabilization fee last year that didn't go great. I'll say that much. So a lot of our utilities infrastructure was built in like the 40s and 50s, kind of the New Deal era. A lot of it was federally funded. And for a long time, we have been charging fees simply to operate our system and to get the water that you need to your house and get the sewage away from your house. And now we're at the point where a lot of our system is aging infrastructure. Not only does it need to be maintained, but a lot of it needs to be replaced and improved upon. And so that means increasing rates to not just cover the cost of the services that we're providing, but to make sure that we're covering those bigger infrastructure projects. That stabilization fee that was introduced last year will no longer be on your bill starting July 1st. So it will fall off. And with the with the increase of the rate, they're anticipating it'll be around $10 a month additional for low water users. I've been told that most water users in Salt Lake City are considered low water users, which is great. We're really good at saving water. But that also means that public utilities revenue has slowly decreased over years as we use less and less water. So I realize that it kind of feels like a catch-22, like, why am I saving water if I'm not also saving money? But I think thinking bigger picture, when we replaced our brand new sewage treatment plant, we didn't have to make that bigger capacity. We built the exact same size of the sewage treatment plant we already had. And part of that is because of our good water habits. So we're not paying extra for extra infrastructure. We're paying to replace the existing infrastructure we have. So, yes. And Laura is the best of the best, so smart. So I'm sure she'll be much more eloquent than me. Waste and Recycling, they also are increasing fees about $3 per bin this year. sorry, per month per bin. They had a group of citizens and businesses come together, I think in 2019, I want to say, and basically do a rate study. And they did determine that rates needed to increase, and it was their job to kind of decide or advise rather, if that should be one big rate increase every, 5 years, or if it should just be steady. And so this is a part of that steady increase that they decided upon that would hopefully be less impactful for residents. Yeah.
So, this right, and Dan, you can correct me, I saw the increase for individual homeowners. It was going to be a lot more than for businesses.
There is an increase for businesses.
Oh, business, yes.
Yeah.
They are, but it's like $1 something a month, and ours is much more. Homeowners are gonna pay individual homeowners will pay much more than a business owner.
Hmm.
Unless I read it
Well,
wrong.
they pay a lot more now, and they will continue to pay more than we pay.
So the increase won't be as great, but it's
It may
still
not
better.
be, it may not be,
Bigger.
may not be percentage-wise greater, but it is,
I just read it.
yeah, so we'll see probably that more from Laura, because I didn't really, my
Okay.
focus is more on residential,
Okay.
Yeah, these, I put public utilities phone number up here if you have any specific concerns about your water bill, but please reach out to me as well. These are two separate departments, but they are on the same bill, which makes it a little bit confusing. I understand that. And we probably should have messaged these at the same time. I'm sure you got two different mailers about two different things. So if you have questions, let me know, please.
So on
Yeah.
that waste and recycling, you have a green, blue, brown can, is that?
I believe so, but I have also felt a little bit of confusion about that, so I can double check. Yeah, yeah, I believe so. Next, this is how you can get involved. So the budget is just a proposal. It's now the city council's job to review it and hear feedback from residents, and do those adjustments that they'd like to see. They must adopt it by June 30th in city ordinance, but I've been told that they try to adopt it much sooner than that. There are going to be two public hearings, one on Tuesday, May 20th and one on Tuesday, June 3rd. Both of those start at 7 p.m. at the city and county building on the 3rd floor. You can also email in or call your comments. Email in your comments or call anytime. And those can be taken. Those public hearings, you can also join on Zoom as well. So there should be a lot of ways for you guys to get your feedback in. You're also more than welcome to send it to me and I can make sure that it gets to the right place. The council office also put together this awesome website. I think if you just Google Salt Lake City fiscal year 26 budget, it comes up. But that's a great way to kind of see the process and read the whole budget if you want to, and make your comments there. So.
In this budget, so this is the general fund budget and the enterprise fund. The enterprise is the golf course, public utilities, enterprise, airports, enterprise, mean that they don't get general funds to, for the projects, they get fees. The airport, landing fees based on the airport, golf, of course, fees based on the golf course. We do actually have something like that. The public utilities, money comes from the rates that they charge people, so that's outside of the general fund, but it's all in the budget book. What's out, not in the budget book, general fund budget, is the CIP stuff, the capital improvement projects, which is also a very large, money. And we approved that later on, but we receive our capital improvement budgets in those projects, and a lot of those projects are, street stuff. So you may, if you dig through the budget, the city budget, you won't see a lot of street improvements, but if you go to the capital improvement sections of you have a little hint out there. That's where all the city street stuff is. So
Was that a separate budget?
it comes out of the capital improvement side of the house. Yes, so it's separate. It's not in that general fund. I think, but the $512 million. Capital improvement is the streets projects.
What is the capital? It's $512 million, budget, the other was.
I knew, I don't.
Almost 2 billion. I mean, really.
Our total budget is close to 2 billion because of the airport.
Yeah.
Is the big chunk of that, but the capital improvement budget is 350 million or something like that. It's, I should know that I was just looking through them, and I only look at the line items, and so, yeah. And that's one of my, sorry, Hannah.
Please.
My in my public safety housing, I kind of equate right now public safety and housing together because we need housing, and if we have good housing, then we don't, the public safety side of the house is kind of going around. The second thing is streets. And so I look at the public, the CIP stuff on the streets, that's where we get a lot of street-based stuff.
The budget,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I
You're good.
apologize, but with the new sports district that's coming in, when does that money start flowing into Salt Lake's coffers, or is it predetermined by
Good
you
question.
spend it?
SEG.
We said, we'll start. Right away.
Will you?
Yeah.
And does that factor in money you can use, or is it targeted for certain things?
That's targeted for the sports and entertainment district.
So it has to go back? Don't you, I thought there was a sales tax and you get, that there's money that goes in. Is there anything that comes back to the city?
25, that's to pay for that district.
The city doesn't get anything back, or there's nothing?
We get a percentage of ticket sales that it
Right.
goes into a fund for housing.
That takes back to the season, but,
Oh.
yeah, but the 25 sales taxes for
Right.
the
Right.
district itself.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll have public benefits, but that's really after bills,
Can take a while.
yes.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're okay. The budget also includes $5 million for affordable housing, specifically for deeply affordable housing, meaning you make 30% or less of the median income of the area that you live in. And this budget also includes $300,000 for streets maintenance, which is about a 30% increase because right now it's around $900,000. This is also completely off topic, but I just noticed driving up here, I wanted to remind everyone, there's a like motocross event at Rice Eccles this weekend, I think. Okay, everyone knows. So Guardsman and Fifth South will be closed this weekend. Does anyone have any questions for me? Nothing? Great. Thanks, everyone. Oh, yeah.
Doesn't really have anything to do except with what you just mentioned.
Oh,
Why
sure.
do they have those Fifth South for 3 whole days, 1 day event?
Yes.
Especially when Sunnyside is under construction.
Right.
or South is under construction.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I found out about the closure at like 3 p.m. today. But I can reach out to the U and ask, because I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah, it rots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I'm just wondering if there's any motion going on with all the street repairs in Lisbon. I went down Hubbard Avenue between 15th and 30th. And it's the most horrid street, I mean, there are potholes of 5 feet by 3 feet. I think there's our neighborhood.
Is it okay if I pull up my website?
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't use that.
You're absolutely correct, and that's not, your neighborhood is not any different from the other 7 districts either. And that's one of my big pushes right now, is to improve our funding for our street improvements.
Aesthetically, it's just awful.
Well, it's-
We're working on this side, houses of people, the streets are full.
Yes,
And everybody plays, I know, what do you do?
Right.
Get out there and put tar, not just see. So I have to, I'll tell them, when they ask, they don't know, that's what I.
yeah, well, we don't, I wish we had the funding to do it, because I wish we had. Trying to chip away, make sure we improve some of the streets out in the middle that are not totally dirt roads anymore, so that we can extend their lives. And that's called middle overlay, which allows us to extend the streets that are like average streets, so that they don't have to wait till they're until this repair to get fully done. So we also make sure we take care of the streets that are in good shape, so that they stay in good shape for a longer time. So there's 3 different levels of streets, and we're a church. We're that close right now, we're on the first one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you're interested, the city has a pavement condition map where you can look at the condition of every street in the city. This was basically already talked about, but it's much easier to keep the streets in the middle, from the like medium bad to medium good, in decent condition. But once they fall below this kind of very poor red, that's where it gets to the point where doing anything on top is like essentially a waste of money and you just have to rebuild it. There's a lot of backlog because during the 2008 recession, we stopped doing this, like replacing residential streets, and that continued until 2018. So we're working through 10 years of backlog. So it's going to take us a while to get there. Definitely reach out to me and I can make sure those potholes get filled. We did just have Pothole Palooza in April. So every single street in the city was touched by a city employee in 1 week. And we filled about 6,000 potholes that week. That doesn't mean there's not still more to fill. So send them to me and I can make sure that they get taken care of.
And it, sorry, back history wise, when we did the bond in 2018, we focused more on the bigger streets to, I think it was 80% of them, or maybe 70% of them from the bigger streets and 30% of that bond money for the local streets. And my recent push to the transportation, the engineers like, hey, we need to focus on local streets because it's not, again, it's not just Youngcrest, it's not just District 6. Drive anywhere in the city and you're gonna stay the same, everyone's in the same boat across the board. And it's all local streets. And the next focus for me would be if we're gonna bond for local streets, not just the bigger streets. But again, the bond, you need more money because we still have to pay out the bonds that we just did from 2018 until now. There's a 20-year payoff, so that's the dilemma, but we need to fix them, and we can't ignore them because they're not gonna get naturally getting better.
No.
Even some road base, is amazing stuff. And that would be a good Band-Aid till they can afford to do something better for the safety or.
Yeah, I'll talk to the engineers.
Is it the product that they're using on the streets that are making themselves?
No, well, the streets haven't been taken care of for 30 years. And
Yeah.
you have blizzards, you got stalls, you got cars, traffic, all that stuff impacts them. That's all part of it. And, yeah, the health of keeping it as healthy as possible, but there's times when you gotta replace them.
I was on 20th East with a streets team a couple of weeks ago, just 1 block west of here, and they decided to look it up and see the last time that it was rebuilt, and it was built in 1942, and that was the last time it was rebuilt. So, yes. So we've really, yeah. I think we've definitely gotten our money's worth, but yeah, so those are the conditions we're dealing with.
It's sort of interesting too, how they, like on 17th South between 17th and 19th, they replaced that.
Mhm.
That was a concrete street
Yeah,
and.
that's expensive.
It is, it's
And
major
it's-
expensive, but
It's beautiful, but we got that, but
It's,
cost $2
sorry, I'm getting the weed. Concrete's very expensive,
Mhm.
noisy. It
Takes too long to cure.
Takes a long time. It's also very noisy and it's, kind of it's slick.
Yeah.
Later on when at some points.
Yeah.
There's a neighborhood, that's why they have those kinds of things, right?
If you really want to get in the weeds, I'm sorry, I'm probably taking up way too much time. This is the city's website, My Street. This is where you can see street reconstructions from all the way from big projects like 21st South down to local streets. They do have projects planned in 2026 and 2027, so you can check and see if your street or neighborhood streets are on that list. And they also have like big project maps where you can kind of see all of the ones in 2025. So good resource if you really want to get in the weeds. Okay, any other questions? Great, thank you. Oh, I'll leave these turf flyers over here if anyone wants.
Perfect. Thank you for all of our presenters today. Anyone have any last comments or questions before we end? We're a little late, but sweet. Thank you for coming. We can, yeah.